Okay, so I want to talk about the new-ish, I'm just recording in July 2026, the new-ish He-Man movie. Literally, I think I saw YouTube today that said it's officially out of theaters as of yesterday. But it's coming to streaming July 22nd, Amazon Prime. Everybody get Amazon Prime. We need to do this because we need sequels, we need series, we need everything else. Now, saying that, I want to talk about my thoughts on the He-Man movie. Obviously, you can tell I really enjoyed it because I want to see more. There's stuff that I would change. And I think it comes down to the psychology. I think it comes down to how we see the 80s show now versus how we see the 80s show when we were 8. Let me explain that. I am a very big 2000 X fan. I still remember the day I was downstairs I was living in a basement apartment and I turned on the TV and I saw this thing pop up and I was like, that looks like He-Man. And I was like, what is this? And it was the 2000X. And I started deep diving into the 2000X. I went out and grabbed the figures, which have all been lost, unfortunately, because I moved all over the world. You know my story? I have moved all over the world. I lived in Thailand, China, Hong Kong, Taiwan. They got lost. I left them with a person, and that person was not very responsible with a lot of stuff, including a 1986 fully packaged Ratlore figure. Anyways, I digress. But I started thinking about this just a few days ago, really, which I decided to make this video. And I was like, because everybody's like, well, the 80s show, oh, the movie was perfect because it was 80s goofy and 80s silly and 80s just zaniness. And I agree. If you watch it now, it does seem highly goofy, you know? To a point. I watched some episodes the other day. I'm like, there's an episode on there where, it was Orko had a thing for Prince Adam's cousin. And the episode is basically just how to deal with gold digging bitches. Yeah, there's the problem with power. There's a lot of great stories in there. And as an 8-year-old, Craig, if you saw it differently, maybe you're just more fucking mature than I am at 8 years old. I don't recall sitting down there when I was 8 going, oh, this show's goofy, this show's silly, this show is just out bizarrely, King Dong is crazy. These were serious stories to us. Actually, they had funny parts, but the 2000X had funny parts. Orko's a goof in 2000X. And they got back a lot of the writers from the original show. I haven't done a lot of research, but just from what I understand, they got back a lot of the writers from the original show. They just said, hey, let's take the original show and put it into a more modern concept. And that show, we look back and we say, oh, that show is pretty serious. What's the funny part? It's a cartoon still. It's a more serious take on He-Man. But this is the thing that I think we forget. 8-year-old us saw the 80s show like the 30-year-old us saw the 2000X show. And I think that's what I had the problem with the movie, if I was to break it down to one thing. We look back on it and we said, hey, we got to make this silly, goofy, and crazy like the 80s. But if we go back to our 8-year-old self and we said, oh man, this thing is so cheesy, you'd be like, what are you talking about? This is good, this is wild, these are some serious stories, like there's life and death situations going on here, like this could be the world or the end of the universe. And I think we kind of forgot that because we're looking back on the 80s show with adult eyes, where I think we need to go back and see it. And I think the best way to do that is say, why do we see the 2000X series the way we do when we were older? And to me, I would have liked to see a lot more of the 2000X, more serious, I'm not talking Conan and all that sort of thing people talking about, no, to see a more serious tone to it. That's all I'm saying. I think it would have been great if we just said, hey, you know what? In the 80s, when we were 6 to 10, this show wasn't cheesy to us. And then the 2000X, it wasn't cheesy to us now. And so I would have liked that to apply. Instead of looking back and saying, hey, I'm now seeing the 80s show through my, 40 to 50-year-old eyes, I'm going to see the 80s show through that 6 to 10-year-old eyes, which was a serious show, which is how we see the 2000X. That's all that I wanted to talk about, really. I mean, I love the movie. Don't get me wrong. I got the steel power sword. I got the Havoc staff. I got everything. I enjoyed it. I got the proteins here, which I talked about in another video. I got everything that I could possibly get from that movie for the most part. I didn't go buy all the figures and stuff like that because I'm in Origins. I just want to stick with Origins. Yes, if I see a deal on the Motu Origins He-Man movie Skeletor and He-Man, I'll grab that, but I'm not starting. But I got the Havoc staff from Mattel Creations. Like I said, I got the steel sword. I think ain't cheap. I didn't buy the $900 one, but it's still, this thing's still not, it ain't no foam sword. I got the movie poster. I paid $40 for the official movie poster. Then I had to go and buy a frame. The frame costs more than the movie poster. And I got that in there. I bought every single thing they had in the movie theater. I walked in, I said, I want one of everything. They were like, everything? And I was like, yes, one of everything. I said, I want the Skeletor cup. I want the He-Man cup. I want the tin. And then my kid wanted a tin, so I had to get him a tin. And then I said, and I want the Skeletor light up eyes. I grabbed the gummies. I bought 3 bags, ate one, keeping one, and I'll probably do one. Actually, I got 2 more because my sister actually bought me 2. I think I have 3 bags. I'll probably do 1 or 2 as a contest at some point if you didn't have a chance to get me to a contest. Open to Canadian residents only because that shipping across the US ain't gonna happen. But yeah, anyways, that's my thoughts on the movie. I just think we spent a little too much time going back and looking at the 80s cartoon through our 40 and 50-year-old eyes and going, boy, this show is really cheesy, really corny, really crazy. I like the colors for sure. Honestly, there's parts I think they could have taken it further. I did not like the Star Wars generic sky sled. To me, that was boring. It looked like a snowmobile flying around. I wanted to see the griffin heads, you know, I wanted to see the animal. To me, it's like, you know, Native American art. You know, totem poles and stuff. That's kind of see He-Man a bit. They very native influence on Eternia. It would be Eternia native influence. You know, Vikings always had, you know, the animals on their ships. So I would have liked to see them dig into a little bit more, which they did again very well in 2000X. So that's my thoughts. Let me know below. Is that the way you see it too? Or are you just like, hey, you know what? The 80s cartoon is cheesy, so we made a cheesy movie, which, and I'm not saying it's bad. I'm just saying, you know, but that's the way that we made a campy. Let's call it a campy movie. Or should Travis maybe have said, hey, how did I see this show when I was 8? And did I see it more like the 2000X? And could it have been a little bit more serious? That's all. Anyways, thanks for watching. Let me know your thoughts on the movie below. Be honest too. Like, you know, it doesn't feel good to say you don't like something about this. Because I saw it twice in the theater. I don't have time, guys, to go 5, 6, 7 times. Fuck it. If you do, and you're overweight, you got your priorities messed up, by the way. Loved it. I'm gonna get the steel. I don't even own a Blu-ray player. I'm gonna get the steel book. Actually, I've heard there's a 3-hour version, so I might just wait a while and see if that one comes out. But I'm gonna get the steel version. I'm gonna buy a stupid Blu-ray player just to have it. I'm gonna grab it on Amazon Prime. I'm sure there'll be more stuff I'm gonna grab. I'm gonna grab Jimbro Skeletor. I'm pissed off again with Mattel because, you know why? I keep telling myself I got my slime pit or the fright pit in the other day. I was like, finally, end of my collection. I'm done. I can tap out besides maybe a Too Bad. And then they bring out Jimbro Skeletor. And I'm like, oh, you can't be He-Dad, have a gym, and not have Jimbro Skeletor. While a bunch of dudes out there who don't even lift have Jimbro Skeletor. It's not right. And if you don't lift, you don't get Jimbro Skeletor either, okay? We're gonna put that, should put that down. It's Great Club, Great Skull. You must lift. Anyways, that's it, guys. Let me know what you think. And until next time, take back the power.